I'm not quite sure how to start this video, but just know that it is a history lesson, in my opinion. So if you don't want to hear either of those things, continue to scroll. I guess first and foremost, as usual, my heart always goes out to the families affected by this. I am sorry. I know that it's not my fault what happened, but it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have. It really shouldn't have. And the consequences obviously first degree. And there shouldn't be any sort of debate about that with what we at the Bureau say an orgy of evidence is which they have. I mean, video and broad daylight. I mean, it is baffling. Incredibly baffling. If this is like the first time you've seen this, I don't make videos about stuff like this because people don't listen to me. People haven't been listening to me, and I just kind of stopped trying. I mean, if nobody's gonna listen to me, then I'm not gonna keep being a dead horse. But now people are saying, if you're not saying anything, then you're against it, and I've been saying things. Been telling people, like physically talking with them about the oppression and where it comes from and trying to figure out the source, and we need to stop blaming one general entirety when it's really just a certain type of person. It's a certain type of people. It's a certain situation. Like, it's not everybody. We get that. We know that. But it is more than enough people to where it's majority. And that is why it's a problem. That's why it's a problem. That's why it's all a problem. But to be shocked that this is, still happening, I mean, we never became people to them. And when we call ourselves black instead of African Americans, instead of human beings, we're calling ourselves a color that subconsciously makes you kind of devalue whatever it is a little bit. The same way we devalue women and why we call them pussies and peaches and whatever else you guys call them, to devalue them. And that's why we have kids with one or no parents raising them, because of the devalue of life, of any kind, of all kinds, of the same kind. That is the problem. There is too much devaluing of life. We are people. We are human beings, and human beings deserve to be treated with respect. The same thing with something that hasn't done anything mean to you. If it hasn't harmed you or bothered you, why would you be nasty towards it? Like, if someone busts me in the back of my head, I have a problem with you. But I don't have a problem with someone who was standing outside of the building. They don't even know that it happened. Why would I be mad at everybody because one person busts me in the back of the head? The point I have been trying to say for years is that the Constitution is not for us. It's not for people of color. And it's frustrating because if anybody would just pay attention to the preamble of the Constitution, it is so clear that they are not talking about people, about everybody. They were not talking about people of color. And even after they had to make amendment after amendment after amendment after amendment after amendment, trying to make it as clear and as broad and as spectral as they possibly could, to make it so that human beings are considered human beings. I mean, it's sad. Yes. I think that's the word I'm going to use for that particular moment in time. Now, it's sad because I know that people are probably laughing at me right now, making fun of whatever it is that they're making fun of in this video. But what disturbs me most are the people who say it happened like forever ago, like let it go, racism is not a thing. My grandmother is older than the Civil Rights Act. My grandmother was born a year after Emmett Till died. And the Civil Rights Act wasn't made a thing until 9 years after that boy died. My grandmother is older than that act. Okay. It is about 57 years since that Civil Rights Act, which was in 1964. That is 94 years after the Constitution was created. 1964. Constitution was created in 1789. So anytime before that, before any idea about being, people or anything like that, we didn't have all of that until 1789. A bunch of white people decided we're gonna be, we like this. This is, we don't want England to come over and take this. That's all the Constitution is. A Constitution is a bunch of white guys making a pact amongst themselves to say, hey, we like being in charge. We like the way we have things right here, right now. And we don't want England to come and take it. So we're gonna make it ours. We're gonna separate ourselves from England. I think that's the best idea for us. That's what those white people were doing with the Constitution. The preamble of the Constitution is, we the people of the United States. Now, the 14th Amendment wasn't a thing until 1868. So, yeah. They weren't talking about us in 1789 when they were saying we the people of the United States. Right after that line, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. Now, a lot of comedians have made jokes about that. What is a more perfect union? Do you know what that means? That means that they loved it. They loved having slaves. They wanted it to stay. This was perfect for them. Having slaves, raping them, using them to pick out their cottons and send them off, and trading them and beating them like shit, that was perfect for them. That is the word that they described the current situation that they were living in as white men was called perfect. And they wanted to make it more perfect. So how did they do that? They wanted to establish justice, right? Which means if something wrong is done to them, then that person needs to be, punished, right? But, if I have stuff and you have stuff and we both have more than we need, then I don't have to worry about a white man. They're obviously not talking about people with wealth, with justice, with getting them in trouble. No, they're talking about protecting people with wealth, with justice. That's what they mean. They're talking about for themselves, for the people at that time, which were only white, only considered white anyway. We've always been people, always been human beings. Establish justice, Ensure domestic tranquility. Ensure. To ensure domestic tranquility. That means basically by any means necessary, your house needs to be run the way you want it to run. You should have peace. That is a must. You should be relaxed. You should feel calm in your own home, in your own country. This is a safe place for you to make sure that you are always safe. That's what ensuring domestic tranquility means. Provide for the common defense. Promote the general welfare. Common defense. Sounds like police. Army men. Things that you would need to protect all of your things. Especially from England, who technically you still belong to. You were just trying to get away from them. They weren't really going to just let it happen. They were going to try and fight. They needed to come up with some kind of way to defend themselves. That's what provide for common defense and promote the general welfare means. And to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. That means to make sure that what they have right now, everything, their land, their slaves, their power, is going to continue on into their children. The children will be born into what they have right now. What they have right now, their ancestors, their future children, their future family members, this is theirs now. We need to make sure that they will always have this control over all of these colored people, this control over all of these slaves, this control over all of this land, this control, this power. And with that, they ordained and established the Constitution of the United States of America. It was never for us. It was never about us. This needs to change. The Constitution needs to make it so that it's obviously clear, right? That everybody is a person, right? You would think that, if we could just get that done, if we could just get it as a law, no matter what creed or color or race or religion or, anything like that, if you are a human being, then, you should be treated properly. Well, guess what? They've been putting things like that into implementation. Of course, so let's see. 1789, they do that, right? 1865. Well, technically 1863, Lincoln tried to do the Emancipation Proclamation, where he basically looked at people and was like, yo, slavery, not cool, we're not doing it anymore. All right. Cool? Cool. And people were like, fuck you. And they went on about their business. So Lincoln realized, okay, fine. I'll make an amendment. God damn it, I'll make an amendment, right? And he created the 13th Amendment, which says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convinced, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Now, let me tell you how much bullshit that is. Because we still have slavery to this day. We have sex slaves. We have traffickers. We have people who don't. So that didn't work, basically, is what I'm saying. Is that did not work, right? Because even after the 13th Amendment was situated here, all you had to do was say that a black person did something. No proof. So if the amendment states that the party has to be duly convinced, Why weren't people put in jail for killing people with no evidence other than hearsay? How come after years, right now, after the woman who, the white woman who fingered Emmett Till and got him murdered, on her deathbed admitted that she lied, nobody went back and revisited any of those things and got any reparations for that family, made any sort of new laws against hearsay in the courtroom, nothing like that. Nothing. Again, how can you be surprised? It's always been like this. 14th Amendment, 1868. Try again. They create an amendment that says everyone born in the United States, including slaves, are American citizens. That should have been enough. You are now a citizen in the eyes of the law, which was created by white people, right? That should be enough. That should have been it. We should... Done. People are people now. Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. Like... But that's not what happened. People were like, no. 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 And no. No. Because no. And they still had the power to deny people things. To deny people rights to eat, rights to drink from a goddamn water fountain, from using bathrooms. That's not freedom. If you can tell someone where to go and what to do and how they're supposed to do it, that is not freedom. Nor is that how you treat an American citizen. These people were still not jailed. These people were still not, their stuff wasn't taken away. They didn't lose their businesses. Nothing. Nothing. They have no fear that if they treat these people the way they want to be treated, nothing will happen to them. 15th Amendment, 1870. They had to make an amendment so that we could vote. They had to make an amendment so that people of color, so that everyone who lives here, who is an American citizen, you have a right to vote. You are a citizen here. When you are a citizen, you have the same rights as every other citizen because you are a citizen. You can make all the laws you want. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. They're not going to support you if they don't want to support you. You can make all the laws you want. As long as the people who don't want to support you have the power to not support you, then this is going to be a problem for everybody. Everybody. We need to take away their power. Certain people cannot have that kind of power. Okay, we get it. You've seen enough movies and enough TV shows to know that certain people cannot handle certain amounts of power. They can't. They just can't. They lose their minds because they have the wrong mindset or because they cannot handle power. They cannot handle taking care and being empathetic towards other people's lives. They don't know how to do it. So they shouldn't be in a place where they have to make decisions based on the lives of other people. And yet, that's who's in control. Unempathetic people. Racist people. It is disgusting. Because 1870 was the 15th Amendment. And the next thing that happens isn't until 1964, really. The only next big thing in making some sort of lawful stride to help people of color. 1964. 9 years after Emmett Till has died. 8 years after my grandmother was born. Civil Rights Act. Boom. Here we go, right? This is it. This should be the nail in the coffin. The final one. Bow. Because not only does it outlaw discrimination based off race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, but they killed a president because he had it as an idea, because he wanted it to be pushed through. They killed a white man over that shit. That was huge. And not only was he a white man, but he was the president of the goddamn United States of America. That's huge. They don't do that. Mm-mm. 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 Nothing says guilty more like trying to shut people up. Speaking of shutting people up, he died in 1963, by the way. It wasn't passed until 1964. Lyndon B. Johnson had to fight for 54 days to get it passed by the state, June 19th, 1964. 54 days. And that was after he was able to get it through the House so that he could fight for it to get it to the Senate. 54 days on top of everything. 54 days. I don't know any protests or rallies that even lasted that long, that have even lasted half of that long. And I was thinking, you know what, maybe that's the goddamn problem. We rally for a week, two, then we go back to posting. We go back to watching our videos and praying and sending our prayers and RIPs. 54 days, this man. 54 days into what is known as a filibuster, which is when someone sits there and tries to argue you down until you are so tired you just say, you know what, just never mind. I don't even fucking want to, just never mind. I'll find some other way to do it. That's what they were trying to do with that. That's how hard they fought for it, to stop it from happening. That is disgusting. Why weren't these people removed? Why weren't they voted out? Why, to this day, have we not figured out who? Nothing. 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 It just happened. And we just took the win and tried to keep going, thinking that, okay, it's a law now. The same thing that people thought back in 1868. It's a law now. You have to listen to it. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because this shit was you made all of this after we made our initial setup, which was the Constitution. That's the shit that they're looking at. That's the shit that they're going for. All of these amendments and stuff, they're called amendments for a reason. They're after the fact. These people come from a long line of people who did not believe in these amendments when they first came out. Who know what the Constitution really means and what the Constitution really is for. Now, before I wrap it up, I just want to get a couple of very easy and very simple things, okay, off of my goddamn chest. A lot of stupid things that people say. For you all lives matter people. If all lives matter, then Black Lives Matter. And either way, all lives matter, don't they then? Right? Right? If all lives matter, then Black Lives fucking matter, don't they? So what is your problem? It's because it's because you see Black Lives Matter as Black Lives Matter more than your life, than anybody else's life. Now, if you can see it that way, I can see we the people as we the white people. Black lives are lives. That is the point of Black Lives Matter. If all life matters, then Black lives definitely fucking matter then, don't they? Just as much as any other life. Because all life matters. So by then Black Lives Matter. Shut up. Next on the docket. Third-degree murder is bullshit for that man. George Floyd was on that floor for over 5 minutes. That police officer had his body weight on that man's neck for more than 5 fucking minutes, okay? I don't even see people get choked out that long in a movie. So for them to try to say third degree anything is bullshit, because third degree means no malice. No malice means no anger, no nasty ill will towards whatever. That's bullshit. Over 5 fucking minutes? Even after the EMT came to check his pulse? You telling me there's no malice? You telling me there's no malice? Shut the hell up. Wash your goddamn minds. Another reason why I haven't made any more videos is because I made a video easily a year ago. I'm going to say 2, but easily a year ago, where I had pitched an idea called Empathy Land. I don't have any views. It's not trending. I haven't heard anybody making any note of it or saying that they heard about it. Nobody's even came up with the idea their damn selves. I've been trying to come up with this idea of Empathy Land. And I'm not going to go through what it is because there's an entire video about it. Been trying to tell people. I shouldn't have to make a video. I've been talking to people for years about this. I've been telling people for years about this. Just because it's not everybody doesn't mean it's not mostly everybody. It's more than enough to be a problem. Okay? And last but not least, for all of you people who are saying y'all doing too much over this one man, it is not just about George Floyd. It is about the way people of color are being treated in this country. From the banks, to the sports, to the representation, to the treatment by the police, to the way we're represented in our government, to the laws that are made. That is what this is about. And the fact that it has been going on for well over 100 years. And that is just from the Constitution being made. We're not even talking about before the Constitution. We're not even talking about before the Constitution. We're talking about all the shit after the Constitution. That's the little chunk that I'm trying to deal with right now. That's the little chunk of information that I'm trying to pass to you people. That's it. It's only been it hasn't been that long, is my point. And every time they seem to make a law, it doesn't seem to do much justice. White people still do what they want to do, how they want to do it, because it's not happening to them. I firmly believe that if those same people who laugh at people like George Floyd and make jokes about how he can't breathe, if they were going through the exact same thing, if they had someone's knee on their neck, holding on to the car so that they can make sure that they are on their neck for over 5 minutes. It wouldn't be that funny. At all. If they could see their sister, their brother, someone that they would jump in front of a bullet for, on the ground, with someone's knee in their neck for 5 minutes, nobody doing anything, and then waking up and seeing that and knowing that the entire world is looking at it too. Everybody knows how the person you love was killed, and everybody knows what happened, and yet they have to go through a whole investigation, a whole process. When people go to jail immediately for having a bag of cocaine in the seat of their car that the police officer threw in there. We're not being treated right. We have not been being treated right. I don't think I'm going to make another video about this. I mean, it's half an hour long. I'm not the kind of person who likes to repeat themselves. If you don't get it, then you need to go through it in order to understand it. And that's as simple as it is. There's a saying that I always say. Some people need to touch the stove to know that it's hot. I was never one of those kids. You tell me don't touch the stove when that fire is on because it will burn you, I'm not going to touch the stove. But I know kids who still walked up to that stove and touched it and had their fucking hand burnt like an idiot. Some people have to go through it themselves. They're never going to understand until it happens to them. This is the same thing with people who work for cancer, people who work for Alzheimer's. They don't have that empathy until it has happened to them or someone that they care about. Now, that's not everybody, but still, it's enough people who are in power. That is the problem. I don't care if you're racist and you're poor. You're nobody. Who gives a fuck what you think? I certainly don't. You got something to say? Say it to my face, okay? If you don't, then you keep on mumbling to yourself over there, man. Alright? Keep it to yourself, okay? But if you feeling froggy, you better go ahead and jump. If not, shut up and sit over there, okay? And be racist by your goddamn self. I don't know. I don't know what else to do for people. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else to say it. Because people are not listening to me. People don't listen to me. They never listen to me. People don't take me seriously. But I figured I would try one more time. And that I would record it so that I wouldn't have to repeat myself. I hope that this reaches a lot of people. I hope that they understand why they don't understand why this is so important to people of color and people who are pale and pasty. I just don't know what to do for you. Now, the last thing I wanted to do is I wanted to read off all of the names that I have found. While there are hundreds and hundreds of black men, women, children, Asian, Jamaican, West Indian, Guatemalan, Mexican, Puerto Rican, who have gone through these things. Gay, lesbian, transgenders. There's a lot of them. And I had to start writing names because it was just breaking my heart after the second page. It was breaking my heart to just keep finding name after name after name for different reasons that weren't really reasons, like running and playing with your friends and having a party, reaching for your wallet. Like, it just was, I couldn't anymore. And if you can sit there and look up all of these people's names and write them down and learn how they died, each one, and after 2 pages of names, you don't feel something? Fuck you, man. Seriously, you need to go see somebody. You need to go see somebody about that, because that is insane. To know that these people are dying for nothing, for jogging, for complying, and they're still dying. This is what I have so far. Just a small spectrum of either police not following up or killing them. Kaneka Jenkins, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Alberta Spruill, Rekia Boyd, Chantel Davis, Shelley Frey, Kayla Moore, Kiam Livingston, Miriam Carey, Michelle Cusseau, Tanisha Anderson, Megan Hockaday, India Beatty, Ayanna Jones, India Kager, Corinne Gaines, Freddie Gray, Latasha McKenna, Aura Rosser, Maya Hall, Yvette Smith, Andrea Ritchie, Ayanna Stanley Jones, Terrence Crutcher, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Michael Crow, Brent Thompson, Patrick Zamarib, Lauren Aarons, Michael Smith, Tatiana Jefferson, Keith Scott, Jonathan Farrell, Jordan Edwards, Stephen Clark, Amadal Diallo, Sean Bell, Walter Scott, John Crawford, Jordan Davis, Botham Jean, Oscar Grant, Corey Jones, Ahmaud Arbery, the Charleston Nine, Renisha McBride, Clifford Glover, Claude Reese, Yvonne Smallwood, Christian Cooper, Breonna Taylor, and Tony McDade. As you can see, I still kept going as far as I could go. And I stopped at Tony McDade. That was the last one that I had ran into, because I wasn't really looking. I wasn't really looking. They were just, boom, names and explanations and what happened It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all to find those names. I don't even know how many are on that paper because it is a drop. It is a drop in the bucket. I know it is. And that's why I'm so sorry to those families. I'm so sorry that my 7-year-old cousin, that people's 6-year-old children, that 11-year-old boys are scared for themselves, for their families, and they haven't even hit puberty yet. They don't get to be kids. And they may not make it to be adults. That is the problem. That is why this is such a problem. It has been a problem. It has always been a problem. It's just we've been able, now we are in an age where everybody has a phone and you can get free Wi-Fi at McDonald's. It's just as easy to record it and to show it to the masses faster than any newspaper, than any news station on television, radio could ever possibly send it to. That's why. It just seems like it's all happening right now. It's been happening. This is just the most physical evidence we've been able to acquire at one time. In a long time. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you. To anybody who has anything nasty to say about what I said, or who doesn't agree with black people or people of color, who don't feel that Chinese people are people of color because they haven't looked at any of the history that describes Chinese people as people of color. To the people who have nasty things to say about my lips and my nose. Okay. Doesn't make me any less of a human than you. It doesn't mean that if someone sits on your neck with their body weight for 5 minutes, for more than 5 minutes, let alone 5 minutes, you're dead. No matter how you feel, no matter what you believe, if somebody sits on your neck with their knee using their body weight for over 5 minutes, when you die, you are a human being. You are a human being. You're all human beings. And human beings do not deserve to die that way. Especially if they didn't do anything to deserve that at that moment. If you want to punish someone for something that they did, punish them when they did it. Don't try to punish them after they have done everything they can to make up for it and to become a better goddamn person. But you weren't there for that. So you don't know that he went through all of that, that he's a different person now. Well, it doesn't matter either way because you don't see them as a person. So how could they have made changes? But whatever. I'm coming up on 55 minutes. 45 minutes. Yes, 45 minutes. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm just going to let this fly. Whatever happens, happens.